Hi, I'm Bill, and I'm over 70. And for the last 8 years, I worked as a part-time specialist at an Apple store. Yeah, they let me do that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I especially enjoy talking to people our generation, and they enjoyed talking to me. As soon as they walked in the store, they'd look around and see my gray hair and say, I want to talk to that guy, because they knew that I could relate to some of the issues that people our age face in terms of technology. It moves fast, it changes quickly, and there's a lot to know. And we did not grow up with this technology, so it's not instinctive to us as it could be to younger generations. So today I want to talk about preparing you to buy an iPhone. And what I mean by that is buying an iPhone has certain steps that need to be taken. It's not as easy as just walking in, buying a phone, setting it up, and walking out with a new phone. There are certain things that it would be to your advantage to know before you go to an Apple store. Now, if you don't live near an Apple store or you don't want to go there, you just want to do it at home, that's fine. You can order online, have it shipped to you. But even better, if you can ship it to a store and go there and pick it up and set it up there, it might make it a little bit easier. But if you can't, Apple has a great support system in which somebody will contact you in their support chain and help you set up your phone. But if you're planning to buy, and this video could be helpful if you're going that route. So follow along. I'm going to go through the various things that it would be to your advantage to know before you go into an Apple store to buy an iPhone. So we want to start with the phone that you currently have. I'm going to assume you have an iPhone. If you have an Android, it's a different situation. I'm not going to cover that here. I'm going to assume that you have an iPhone. Perhaps you've had one for quite a while. Many seniors hold on to their phones. They like some of the older features. Going back to the iPhone 8s, I had a few people who still have a 6. If you have a 6, pretty good. But as you come to realize, the performance of those older phones are not up to par. And one of the biggest issues is with the battery. So you may be saying, okay, it's time to bite the bullet and get a new phone. Well, in doing that, you're going to, I think, be pleased with some of the features that these phones have. Now, we're not talking about that in this video. I did another video regarding the new iPhone 17e that was released in March of 2026, and I covered the whole 17 series that came out in the fall of 2025. Now, if you're watching this in September of 2026 and beyond, they've probably come out with an iPhone 18 with new features, but I think the process that I'm talking about today will probably not have changed that much. So let's go through this. Now, these are the things that you should do at home before you even go to the Apple store. First of all, let's identify your phone. Do you know what phone you have? People I used to ask and they said, well, I don't know. Well, that's fine. Who can remember? So let's find out what you have. So go to your settings on your phone, hit General, About, and you'll see the model name of the phone. While you're on that page, scroll down a little bit and check the capacity, how much storage is on your phone. And it'll also tell you how much is available. And that could guide you in terms of how much storage you need to get for the new phone. You may only have 64 gigabytes or 128 gigabytes. Well, the good news is that all the phones now start at 256 gigabytes. So upgrading should be pretty simple in terms of choosing how much storage you need for the new phone. While you're there, also jot down the serial number of your phone. This will be helpful if you want to trade in this phone. If it has some trade-in value, you'll save a few bucks. I should mention here that iPhone financing does require a trade-in. I'll be talking about that in a few minutes. The other thing you want to do is is to check to see if your phone is upgraded to the latest software. Now, if you really have an old phone, you may not be able to upgrade it to the latest software. If you can update the software on your phone, do it at home. Get it out of the way. It'll be a lot faster than waiting till you get to the store. So see if you can update to the latest software, at least 18. It'll be beneficial if you can. And if you can't, there are ways around that we'll be talking about. To check to see which version you have or to update your software, once again, go to General in your settings and click Software Update. The next thing we want to look at is iCloud. And to check your iCloud, go to your settings, and then you'll see iCloud in the center. Click on that. You'll come to the iCloud page, and at the top you'll see where it says Storage. And that will tell you how much storage you have, how much is available. Now, if it's full, it will give you the option to upgrade your storage, which you will have to pay for. Now, if you do have available space, then scroll down to where it says iCloud Backup, and it will tell you the last time the phone was backed up on iCloud. Click on that. And if you're going to an Apple store to buy a new phone, just make sure you back up your phone before you go in. Just hit that Backup Now and get the latest backup. Let's talk about iCloud for a second. Why do you need it? Why should you have it? Why are you resisting having it? First of all, it does back up everything on the phone. And that's going to ensure that your info is safe in case of loss or damage of the phone. Restoration, if you can restore everything back on the phone if the phone is lost or stolen. It synchronizes your photos and files across all Apple devices. iCloud Drive allows you to store and share files securely. Find My, if you lose a phone, track it on any computer, going to iCloud.com. Family sharing options, so you can share photos, purchases, subscriptions with other members of the family. It does provide enhanced privacy and data security. Now, if there's a downside to iCloud, to me, it's the pricing. You do get 5 gigabytes for free, but that gets used up pretty quickly. The next level is 50 gigabytes for 99 cents, and then it jumps to 200 gigabytes for $2.99. But here's the kicker. The next tier is 2 terabytes for $9.99. Now, I can't believe they couldn't put a 1 terabyte option for $4.99. If you saw the screenshot of my phone earlier, you saw that I've got 2 terabytes because of all the video. I could probably get by with 1 terabyte, but I don't have that option. So I wish Apple would work on that. So it really depends on your usage. Most people are in the 50 or 200 gigabyte range, and hopefully you won't have to go beyond that. In any case, I still think iCloud is a worthwhile endeavor. You're taking pictures, you have a family event, you're traveling, you're taking great pictures, you lose your phone or your phone breaks. What happens to all those photos? I had a customer who traveled to Europe 3 weeks, went to all different countries, took great photos, went back to France, went back to Paris. Somebody stole his phone. He didn't have iCloud. He lost all his photos. If he had had iCloud, he would have had access to those photos. So if you don't have iCloud, consider upgrading and backing up your phone. And also it makes the transfer from your old phone to the new phone a lot easier and faster. The next thing we want to talk about is your Apple ID. And your Apple ID is under your name on your phone. You can see it. It's an email address. That's your Apple ID. And you want to keep using that even if you don't still have that email account. It's just an identifier. It's not connected to your email. So let's say you had Comcast or something and you don't have it anymore, at least keep the ID. The key part of your Apple ID is the password. Hopefully you wrote it down or you have it somewhere, you have access, or some people actually remember it. It's a lot to ask to remember an Apple ID password. If you can't, you'll try it a few times. If it doesn't work, don't try it too many times so you'll get locked out. You can change it. It gives you the ability to do it right there. It needs to be at least 8 digits, one capital letter, at least one number. Can't be too easy, a word that's recognizable. If you want to use a recognizable name or word, just put it in backwards. But at least write it down, put it in your Notes app. You may have access to it if you've updated your phone. You might have an app called Passwords. Just do a search for it on your phone. Just click on the app. You want to hit all, click on that, and then go to Apple. It says apple.com, and you will see your password. It will be a series of dots. Click on the dots, and it will reveal your password. And by the way, this is a really good app if you can't remember a password. Otherwise, if you can change it at home, better off. If you're having difficulty, you can go to the store. Now, a lot of times when you change the password, it asks for a two-factor authentication, sending it to another Apple device. If you have one, it'll send a code. It'll show up on the phone, and just go ahead and enter in that code. If you're having difficulties, you may need to call Apple support, and they'll walk you through the process. You can go to the store, but it's going to be the same process and just take longer. Now let's talk about your carrier. Apple is partnered with AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Boost Mobile. So you're going to have some financing options when buying a phone, and connecting your carrier to your new phone from your old phone will be pretty seamless. Now, if you're using one of the many other carriers available in the United States, you do not have financing options at Apple, and you will have to connect your phone number directly with your carrier. And of course, the phones are compatible with most international carriers. The technology now allows you to transfer from your old phone to your new phone. And if you have the 4 carriers that I mentioned, it'll be a pretty easy transition. If you have one of the others, sometimes it works, I've got to say, but you never know how and when. And if it doesn't work, then you're going to have to go to your carrier. Usually you can call them. You can even do it online in terms of activating the phone with those carriers. Now, if you don't have a working iPhone, it's broken, it's too old, it just is not accessible, then the connection is going to be more of a manual connectivity in that connection. What happens when you go into the Apple Store is they have you scan a code, and it takes you to the Apple Store, not the App Store, the Apple Store, and you open that, and you give permission to connect to the specialist's device. They now have information that's going to help you and them get through the process a lot faster and a lot easier. If you don't have that ability, if your phone's too old, software's too old, you can't get to that Apple Store app, then you're going to have to enter this information manually. The first thing you will need is a PIN number issued by your carrier. It is usually a 4 or 5 digit PIN number. If you don't know it, you will have to go to the carrier's website or call the carrier to change the PIN number. So this should be done before you go to the store. You may have something called enhanced security turned on, and that needs to be turned off. And that can also be done on the carrier's website. You can Google instructions on how to do that, or call the carrier. They can help you in the store to a certain extent, but again, sometimes they need a two-factor authentication. So if you can do this at home, again, it's better to have that PIN number if you can. The second thing is that you need to be an authorized user. Now, if you're the account owner, you open the account and it's your account, then that's fine. You're an authorized user. But if you're not the account owner and you weren't added as an authorized user, you need to be added. And the account holder needs to do that. Now, if you're in the store with the owner of the account, no problem. They'll check their ID, then they can go ahead and they can process it. But if you're not with that person, you need to contact that person and have them add you as an authorized user. Again, better to do this at home. Go to the website. It's the only way you can do it. Or you can call the carrier and take care of all this. Try to get all that out of the way at home. Even if you can't figure out how to do all these processes, how to do the PIN number, how to be an authorized user, how to turn off enhanced security, it can all be done on the carrier's website, but you have to know how to get onto the carrier's website. So if nothing else, go there. If you don't know the password, change the password, write it down so you're prepared. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's what you face when you go into the store. Again, if you don't have a working phone, then you're going to have to deal with this. Now, you can be prepared to view the iPhones that are available online. You can go to Apple's website and check them out, see what they're telling you about it, see the colors, the features. So when you go into the store, you'll see the arrangement of phones. You can see the colors. You can hold the phones, decide what size works best for you, how it looks, how it feels. And then once you have an inkling of what you want, then, like I said, the specialist will scan your phone and get the information they need to proceed with the transaction. If you're doing a trade-in, your phone may have value. Before you go in, you can get that information by going to apple.com, scrolling all the way down to the bottom to trade-in. Click on that, choose iPhone, find your trade-in value, pick smartphone, Apple, or if you have another brand that may have trade-in value also. Choose the model number, put in that serial number I told you to write down, and then answer a few questions, and it'll tell you the value of your phone. So when you go to the store, you already have an idea of what the value is, and that'll be useful in terms of buying a new phone. So the specialist will do a diagnostic of your current phone, and it will then come up with the value. Hopefully it'll match the one you already saw, but it may not. It doesn't always. There could be factors. Those prices change, so it may not be the same, but normally it will be whatever you saw when you went online to check that out. If you're not planning on setting up the phone in the store, you want to hold off on the trade-in because you need a working phone. You buy the new phone, take it home or wherever you're going to set it up. You still need your working phone. You have up to 14 days to trade in that phone. So, and get the value put on the card that you use to buy the phone. So you don't have to trade it in the day that you buy the phone. But if you're planning on setting up the phone in the store, you might as well just get it out of the way, get the discount. If you're planning on financing the phone, you definitely need to trade in the phone. So you will have to set it up in the phone in the store because you're going to lose that phone. Apple's going to erase it and keep it. So let's talk about the payment options. The first option is just to pay full price, which most people, I don't know, I would say a majority of seniors that I talk to just say, oh, I'm just going to pay for it. The advantage of doing that is that you own that phone. It's an unlocked phone. You can set it up with any carrier, and just whether it's local or international, it's yours to do whatever you want. However, these carriers that I mentioned, many of them offer special deals in which you will pay less for the phone if you take on their offers. The offers that they provide are based on, first of all, you do have to do a trade-in. Now, originally, the phone had to be in good condition. Some of the carriers are saying in any condition, which then you won't get you'll pay a little bit more a month if it's not in good condition. But it is possible. But you do have to do a trade-in. What they offer are what's called bill credits. So let's say your trade-in value through Apple is $300. They're saying that the bill credits are up to $800. And what that means is that they will, over a 3-year period for AT&T and Verizon and Boost Mobile, 2 years for T-Mobile, you'll pay it off at this lower rate based on having a carrier plan that qualifies. The qualified plans are all of their unlimited plans. Not all of them. They're top tier unlimited plans. I mean, that's why they're doing it. They, first of all, want to keep you as a customer for 2 or 3 years, but they also want to have you to have their top tier plans. You may already have their plans, and you can check that out, see what plan you have when you're delving into your carrier, if you do that at home. But as you go through the transaction, it'll tell you whether you're qualified or not, or do you have to upgrade to get these special discounts. So it's something you may want to look into. If you do that, your phone is not unlocked. You're locked into that carrier for that period of time or until you pay off whatever you owe on that phone. I think you can pay it off earlier. Sometimes you lose bill credits. I don't know. It depends on the carrier and the offer. But if you decide to go that direction, just know that you're locked into that carrier and you will be paying it off over that period of time. Now, you can finance it and still have an unlocked phone, and that's if you finance it through Apple. You can use an Apple Card. If you have an Apple Card, it's easy to get an Apple Card. They can help you do that in the store. You can do it online. Usually it just takes a few minutes. It is a credit card, and there is an application. The nice thing about the Apple Card is that when you use it, you get 3% cash back or Apple cash back on anything you buy at Apple. So when it's a big ticket item, that's not too shabby. And it's easy to finance. The process is pretty simple. If you don't have an Apple Card, don't want to apply for an Apple Card, you can use whatever credit card you wish, but you will have to do a credit application. They use Citizens One Bank as the financier for those phones. But the good news is it's an unlocked phone. The payoff is 2 years without interest, and you just pay that monthly rate. So those are the financing options. Oh, there is one more. It's called the Apple Upgrade Program. This is for people who want to upgrade their phone every year. Basically, you sign up for 2 years, but you can, every year when they come out with a new phone, you can upgrade to the new phone, and they release the other year obligation. It rolls over to another Apple Upgrade Program. This really makes sense if you buy your phone when the phones come out. That way, as soon as they come out every year, you can just upgrade to the new phone. I didn't see a lot of people doing that in our age group. Honestly, I think most people just want to buy the phone and not deal with any of that. But if you'd like to save a few bucks, look into those financing options. The other thing that will come up is AppleCare. I always recommend AppleCare for an iPhone because you just never know what's going to happen with a little device. And the one line I always heard was, "Nothing's ever happened to my phone." Doesn't mean it can't happen. The nice thing about AppleCare is that it covers accidental damage, unlimited accidental damage, and theft and loss. So if your phone is lost or stolen, you don't have to go and spend another, $6,000-8,000 on another phone. You can use AppleCare. You'll still maybe pay $150, but it's a lot better than having to buy a new phone. So that's included, and you get up to 2 incidents a year on theft and loss. You pay for a year, and it just renews every year. You can also do a month-to-month subscription. You end up paying a little bit more if you do it month-to-month. Now, if you have other Apple devices, you may want to consider using AppleCare One. It's a new offer from Apple that just came out. In this case, you can apply AppleCare to 3 devices for $20 a month. And it's great if you have an iPad or a Mac or an Apple Watch, and it includes theft and loss for the iPad and Watch, which is not covered if you purchase AppleCare separately for those devices. But highly recommend AppleCare, and you can add it later if you want. You have up to 60 days to add AppleCare, but why not just do it, get it over with. You walk out of the store, you drop the phone and crack it. You got it covered. So think about adding that. So you've chosen your phone, you've chosen the model, the amount of storage, the color. You've decided whether you want AppleCare, how you want to finance it. You want to look at accessories, whether you want to get the accessories at the Apple Store. Cases are on the wall. They have a lot to choose from. They start at $49, but there are a lot of places you can get a case. But if you want to get it out of the way, they have some really cool colors. And by the way, don't stress over what color phone to get if you're going to get a case, because it's probably going to cover it up. There is a little bit of the color showing in the back, so maybe you want it to match. But check out the cases. They're $49 and up. You may want to get a glass screen protector, even though the protection on these phones are pretty good. The screens are pretty good material, but glass screen protector takes care of scratches and dust and dirt. They're $39 for an ultra glass. The nice thing is that they'll install it. They have a little machine that will install it in the store. And Belkin has a warranty on those screen protectors. You have to register with Belkin. They'll tell you how to do that in the store. So it may be worth adding that onto it also. Now, your phone is using a plug. If you pull it out, you'll see this little plug with little white lines of it. If it's older than, I think, 14 and below, it's using this lightning cable. Well, everything now is USB-C, and all devices are USB-C. And a USB-C cable comes with the phone, but not the adapter. So if you don't have a USB-C adapter, you'll need to get one. The 20-watt adapters are $19. They came out with a 40-watt if you want faster charging. You could also opt for wireless charging through MagSafe. You just click the round disc onto the back of the iPhone, even if it's got a case on it, and it connects. It comes in different configurations. You can put it in your car, you can put it in your bedside. So there's another option. And there's all kinds of different cables and connectivity things that you can look at. But really, just to get going, if you want to walk out of the store with the complete solution, just get the phone, the AppleCare, the case, the screen protector, the adapter, and you're in good shape. Not all of them are necessary, and don't feel like you're being gouged with all these different things, but this is a very high-tech device that is going to be around for a while. You might as well start fresh. Now, most of you will probably just want to get the phone set up in the store. Just get some help setting it up. Every store has a setup table. There's one person who kind of watches the table. I guess the bigger stores may have a couple. I worked in a small store. We had one person. Many times I did it myself. One person watches the whole table, so I could have 6, 7, 8 people setting up devices, and I'm helping them all. So please be patient with the setup person. But they will guide you through the process. If your phone's up to date with the software, you'll basically be taking your old phone, putting it next to the new phone, and it will transfer between those two phones. If you have iCloud, more the better because it'll go faster. But you can do a phone-to-phone transfer. It'll transfer the phone number, all the information that's on your phone, so that when the process is finished, your new phone will mirror your old phone. Now, if you're trading in the phone, you want to make sure that your photos, your messages, your contacts came over effectively before they erase your old phone, because that's what's going to happen. They bought your phone, they own it, and so they're going to erase it, and you have to be there for them to erase it, and you may need your Apple ID password for that process. If you don't have it, you won't be able to erase it, and you won't be able to trade it in. They can reverse the trade-in and take the money back. But if you finance the phone, then there's going to be an issue. So get all that worked out. You do need your Apple ID password. You will need to log into some of the apps on your phone. Gmail, you'll need a password through Google and other third-party apps, so be prepared for that. Again, if you have access to that password app, a lot of those passwords should be on there. But if you don't, then you'll have to go to each of those apps and get a new password. That is not something that Apple specialists are set up to do. Apple's set up to help you with Apple, not with all these other third party. They don't depend on them to be able to do that for you. If you have an Apple Watch, you definitely want to connect that, so they will help you do that. Also, you can take advantage of Apple's 3-month free trials. They have that with Apple Music, Apple TV, and Apple Arcade. So you get 3 months to try them out, see if you like them. 3 months is pretty good, but go ahead and put it on your calendar if you think you're going to want to cancel those when the 3 months are over. I'm pretty sure they notify you, but don't depend on it of seeing that text or email. Go ahead and put on a calendar. After 3 months, you can say, well, I'm not using the arcade for free games, so you can just go ahead and cancel it. And that's right on your phone. So you'll see all the subscriptions and you can cancel them there. My fellow seniors, I highly recommend signing up for Today at Apple. These are in-store classes that help you navigate the new phones that you're buying. I don't think I've ever seen anybody under 50 at any of these classes. You think your kids are going to sit there at a class at an Apple store? Perish the thought. But these classes are great. The instructors are friendly. They know how to talk slow. They'll go through it. They have a screen. You'll see it on the screen. They'll walk you through it. It's good to have a real person to talk to help you with that process. But if you don't want to have a class, once you get home and you're playing with the phone, do a search for the TIPS app, TIPS, and it'll give you help on navigating the phone, some of the features. I think it even has a manual. So check out the TIPS app and play around with it. There are tons of YouTube videos on these phones. Just learn the basics. Start with the basics. If you're not used to swiping, for example, you're used to the home button, just play around with it. Get used to just navigating the phone, and you'll learn it pretty quickly. You want to learn the easiest way to use the camera. There's so many great things on these new phones. So, you have a lot of support. And of course, Apple support. If you are getting AppleCare, you get 24/7 support, but you can always call Apple support if you have questions. But do me a favor, Google it if you can't. If you have a simple, how do I turn on the ringer, turn off the ringer, I mean, people come into the store for these questions, and I'm saying, just Google it. You don't have to come all the way to the store to ask a question like, how do I turn on the ringer? Now, if the ringer doesn't work after you turn it on, that's a different story. That's definitely worth a phone call to Apple support. And by the way, there is an app on your phone called Support. Do a search for that. Many of the questions you have are right there in the Support app. If it's not there, they will then lead you to different ways of contacting Apple support, either by phone or text, or you can make an appointment to the Apple store where you can meet up with somebody at the Genius Bar. So that's another reason that you choose Apple, is because of the support. I don't know where you go if you can't figure things out on your Samsung phone. I wouldn't know. I mean, Best Buy has the Geek Squad. That could be useful, but you still have to go to a store, I guess. I just think that the people at the Genius Bar, I mean, they get rave reviews. They're friendly, they're understanding, they'll work with you. And by the way, the online support will too. I had an issue with a device, they couldn't answer it. They keep going higher and higher in the chain. They finally ended up with the engineers at Apple. So Apple's all about support. And that's why Apple is ideal for seniors. Even though their marketing doesn't address our generation that much, it seems to be more youth oriented, there is support for you out there. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I put my email address below. You can contact me. Please support my channel, subscribe, like, all the things that everybody asks you to do. And watch my other videos. I'm doing another video on the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch saves lives, so check that out. I'll also be doing a program on the iPad and the computers, the Macs, and other cool things at Apple. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.